Hello, everybody, and welcome again to the second edition of the Authentic Woman You Are online series. I'm Jennifer Ackad. I'm the creatrix and the host of that event. And today we are turning the tables around. I have invited Raphaëlle here to have a conversation with me. Raphaëlle has been a tribe member for more than a year now, and so she has been immersed in that container of the Authentic Woman You Are for a while, bathing in that medicine, and she offered very generously to interview me today. So hey, Raph.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good, great. Yeah, so I wanted to dive into a few questions for you. I know that there's a lot going on in the world right now. It's tumultuous phase of humanity. And I was wondering, I have a tendency to put things into boxes to make sense of what's going on right now. But I also found another, how can I say this? Another aspect, more infinite, more large to this life, to this experience. And I was wondering, like, how do you navigate wanting to put things into boxes and also wanting to go with the flow in a way?
So what I hear in your question is kind of the conflict that we all have, being in a 3D reality and also feeling and tapping into kind of an infinite space of possibilities, right? How I navigate this. So I navigate this by, the wisdom that I tap into the most is the wisdom of the body, which is kind of the theme of, one of the themes of that platform here. And as much as my intuitive senses or my higher self or like the visions can channel, which can come from higher realms, as much as I also need to acknowledge the boxes that and the situations and the platforms, the playgrounds that I love calling, that I'm in, right?
Yeah.
To bridge. So I love that word, bridging. So when I receive, for example, an inspiration coming from higher above, let's put it like this, it has a journey to make. So it's an idea coming from subtler planes and it's coming down into my body. And then I receive through my design, which is my body, the wisdom that is required to give birth to that idea. So we can have many and many ideas based on when we are super, super light as bodies. And then when we are traveling in higher frequencies, let's put it like this, we can channel many, many ideas. But when we are in reality, we can give birth to so many ideas, right?
Yeah.
Because we live in a limited body. That's our reality. Limited without being negative, but it's just a fact. So I navigate through, being very honest about my reality, being honest about boundaries, being honest about contracts, being honest about give and take, which is the natural way of this material life. It's all about this give and take. I'm just being honest about what I love, what my desires are. And I'm not trying to be some spiritual being here on earth. I feel it in my heart. I tap into those frequencies. I expand into those frequencies, but my body is my body, and it has memories in it. It has wounds and traumas. It has desires. It's programmed in a certain way. And so I really listen to the wisdom of the body and connect to higher guidance to bridge all of this and to create from that space.
Right. And everybody has access to that in their own unique design and way, as you said. And I think, is there the birthing process? How can you define the birthing process for you in your experience? Birthing of an idea coming in and knowing, is this idea gonna give birth to something in the real world?
So the birthing process is, it's from the womb, right? So there's an idea, there's kind of a spirit, there's an essence that we feel. We are creating kind of a relationship with that essence at first, like I kind of explained at the beginning, like we receive an inspiration, and I'm really going to name it the way I receive it. So it's an intuition. Like I can hear an idea, or I can receive some kind of texture, a guidance. I feel it in my heart. And then the important aspect of giving birth is really about the womb and the pelvis. So it's connected to here, to Mother Earth. So it has the power to be born in the world and to be sustained in the world, and also to have a supportive system and a supportive structure in the world for it to be nourished and to grow, right?
Yeah.
So I hold, you know, in my body practice, embodiment practice, I really start by resting my body on Mother Earth. That's how I do it. I rest my pelvis, I rest my hips, I welcome all the sensations in those areas, and in the womb, which is our creative center. And I allow the body to get activated by presence. So my attention is kind of my currency. So if I see that when I sit down and my attention is super, super scattered all over the place, thinking about relationships, thinking about ideas, thinking about the future or the past, the whole practice is about bringing the attention inside the temple, inside the body. And the cells, when they feel presence, they feel love. Presence and love, it's the same thing. They feel love and they start being activated. They start pulsing life and reconnecting to what I love calling life force that is beyond us, right? It's kind of a current, the current of life, which just gets we are always linked to that. It's just we have forgotten the link. But the more we are present with ourselves, the more we pay attention, we feel that link. And then the pelvis, the womb, everything gets reactivated. The heart relaxes because the womb and the pelvis is relaxed. So the physical heart actually has space to, oh, okay, I feel home, you know? And giving birth is about being home, right? It's about being home. Yeah.
And it's super interesting because I see parallels with the literal birthing process. Like, I've never been pregnant myself, so I wouldn't know, but from what I've observed in the birthing process, it's kind of similar to direct the attention inside and to nourish whatever life wants to grow there. So yeah. And
it's a beautiful subject. It is, because when we have a baby, I can speak from the perspective of being a mother and having carried the baby inside my belly. It's like, even just naming this, like my whole body just breathes, and like there's this joy coming through my throat. And it's not a controlled joy. It's not like I have an image of a baby and I'm joyful. It's not this. It's like the body just responds to carrying life. And I'm being touched right now. I'm being touched by the subject, because it's true. When the baby, the fetus, when this essence comes into the womb and you feel life really growing, there's a natural tendency to want to nourish or to bring presence. Let's put it that way, to bring presence in the uterus, in the womb area, to create space in the body for that baby to grow, or what I love calling organically, to give really space for that baby to exist. And it's that beautiful image of getting ourselves out of our own way. Like as a mother, when we carry, or as a human, when we carry a project, or as a mother, when we carry a baby, it's all about, we get ourselves out of our own way. And if there's something that we need to address, it's not about sacrificing this. It's about addressing it. It's about being real of, okay, this is where I am. Those are my limitations. This is my energy. So the birthing process really goes like this. I feel that you have a question. Go ahead.
No, but I was wondering, there's a lot of things coming up, because when you feel distracted or unaligned, or that your attention is like sort of leaking, I'm wondering what works for you as a I know that meditation is a technique that is used to refocus the attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you do when you feel unaligned, out of touch?
In the doing, yeah. So I mean, there's the meditation, there's the yoga. If the question is about tools, those are really the tools that I use. Sometimes I'm gonna dance, so it's really about being in the body, bringing presence back in the body. So I love connecting to primal embodiment. This is really my thing. And what I mean by primal is really tapping into the rawness of our bodies, the way they want to move. For me, this really brings presence to the matter, to this machine, as I love calling it. So I'm gonna really connect to Mother Earth. So it's really Mother Earth, Mother Gaia is really an energy or that I call in. When I sit down, I just really name Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, and there's really that nourishing. I really have just this close relationship, which we all have, but I just need to name it, and then I feel like just all this essence coming and nourishing my body as if I was a tree, honestly. Like I just feel like the body starts dissolving. So this really works for me. Yeah. Whether I do this when I'm dancing or meditating or practicing the embodiment practice, which is coming from a yoga therapy background. I've been bathing for about more than 10 years in yoga therapy. So this is where I was trained to practice all of this. There's other tools like inner relationship focusing. So this is an inner dialogue with the tissues and the chains of tensions in the body. So it's really being honest. And when we feel that we are stuck in an inside box, whether it's a personality or an emotion or a thought process, and that we're just looping, we can't get out of it, then I sit down and I take care of it just as if it was a baby. I just offer space for that and that persona, let's put it like this. And it has a component, it's a chain of tension in the body. So it's screaming, there's pain in it, or there's a strong sensation calling my attention. And I hold space and I ask questions. What do you need? What do you love? What are you scared of? What are you angry about? And then this, I love doing this with like this chain of tension. When it feels heard, it starts releasing. Because it feels heard. And that's ultimately what all of us humans want. We deeply intrinsically want to feel seen and heard, and through our own presence we can do this, or in sacred containers or sacred spaces where it's really authentic and genuine, our body can relax and feel seen. And in this, all the survival mechanisms, they start decompensating. It's not so much our primal brain that runs our machine, but then our primal brain goes back into its intrinsic nature. And I do this also, it's the pulsation of the sacrum. So when we remove the layers of wounds and trauma, and it's a life path, but it goes through phases of when we get into that natural pulse of the sacrum, it will propel us in our design, it will propel us in our purpose, which is who we are ultimately. So instead of being stuck in survival mechanism and always making us feel that we are threatened, when we welcome all of this, and it's deep work, at one point it just propels you into creation, not into destruction, but into creation. And that's what I love calling the connection with life force.
And there's this sort of tension between all the distractions that make us feel like we're never enough, and the actual reality that, you know, all you need is presence. All we ever need is presence. And like how did you deal with the fear of not knowing? Because this is an inner path, right? So it's inner guidance, and you know, it requires a lot of trusting and a lot of courage. How did you navigate the fear during the times where you felt unsure or unsure?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, I need to name that, yes, it is an inner journey, and it's our journey only, right? At the same time, I was blessed because I had teachers. I mean, I journeyed with people, with tribes, with teachers, mentors. So the second I had a sincere question inside and a sincere calling, like really a calling from the heart, and sometimes it was a cry from the heart, because I was, wow, like this vast door that is being opened to me, and I have no clue, right, what to do. And it, like, I mean, you just bow, you surrender, you're like, wow, okay, here I am. And those go through phases. So I still go through phases like this, because the more you say yes, the more the challenges come in like kind of bigger ways, right? But because we say yes, it's very sincere. But when those doors open and there's a sincere calling, most of the time, really sincere teachers just appear. So it's a matter of saying yes, being humble enough to ask questions, being humble enough to say yes to guidance, which I was not. Even if I was saying yes, sometimes I was, in this, like, I want to know that I can do it alone, and I very strong ego, as that's the word that we love saying. But at one point, like what I feel from my experience is that there's more and more a bow that happens, more and more a real surrender. It's not a surrender, oh, I need to surrender, because it's a concept. Literally, your body bows, your body surrenders, because it's so vast. It's so vast that we really get on our knees and we're like, I don't know. I don't really know. I know what I know because I've experienced what I know, but there's so much I don't know. So that's the love of the game. That's the love of the path. And but personally, when I get into those like scary places of unknown, what I discovered inside my body is that there are safe spots. So like in the groups I hold, I speak a lot about the pelvis, the pelvic floor, and the pelvis, and the connection to Mother Earth. And this is where I have found safety for my heart to relax, and where I can feel that my nervous system grounds, where it builds resiliency, where I can actually feel contained in my energy, and safety appears. All the drama, trauma, projections in the future, or projections coming from the past into the future, they all start dissolving, and we are more in the present moment, connecting back to the breath of the pelvic floor. And there's something that rests in it. And this is one of the reasons why I created this summit, because just after finding those specific answers inside my body, I was like, wow, every woman should know about this. They should know that, right, when we rest inside our wombs, when we rest inside our pelvic floor, that we tap back into that primal breath, there is an intrinsic sense of self-value. There is an intrinsic sense of safety. We are not designed to be in fear. We are programmed to be in fear, but we're not designed to be in fear unless there's a lion coming to attack you, right? But that's just a normal response of the body, but we are designed to create. So does it happen still to me that I get into fear? Of course it happens, because like I said, challenges come bigger and bigger on the path. But because there's that knowing of when I rest inside my womb, when I tap into this infinite potential of creativity, and also this safety and this inner value. Okay, if I disalign a bit in a day, I just go back into there, what I love calling my temple, which we all have, and I reactivate this primal breath, and then it's okay. Then it's just everything, all the illusion dissipates, it starts dissolving.
And it's the only thing we ever have is our body, right? The rest is, we cannot possess anything else than and even our body, we don't possess it. We don't have a relationship of, I'm mastering, or I'm taking over my body. It's really a relationship of listening and being present again. Yeah, it's super interesting to listen to you speak to how you've reconnected with this inner knowing and knowing what's right for you and what isn't. And
yeah, and I want to add that I got into that recognition and that knowing just after like huge events in my life that asked me to really own up to my path.
Yeah.
And it really propelled me in my path, even if my mind wanted to stay in my comfort zones. At one point, it was bigger than me. Life force just pushed me out of those systems, and they're like, it's not that I'm on my own, but I'm on my own. It's like, okay, next step. And again, I have to insist, because the mind wants to stay in the comfort zone. It's programmed to just take you and protect you. But life force is different. It's going to push you into actualizing yourself for your temple or your body or you to be in service. Like, because we are designed like this. When we allow life force to penetrate us and to be immersed in that flow, like naturally naturally we serve.
Yeah.
Every step of the way, it's just service, because we allow ourselves to be activated and to transmit what they need to transmit punctually every single moment, which I call authenticity. I mean, we are never there. There's no destination. Like, there's no result to attain. It's the love of the game. It's the love of the path. And each single moment when we are in that authenticity, something emerges that is authentic. And whether it's through voice or through vibration or through sound or through whatever it is,
yeah,
and it gets communicated like we are doing right now in this conversation.
And we feel it when it's aligned. And I'm also, I see a crossroads when you have the choice to stay in your comfort zone, basically to reassure your mental stories, or to just dive into the unknown. And yeah, it's interesting to see how the mind will trick you to stay in a state where basically there's no more life.
Yes.
And so, yeah, how does that resonate with you? How does that feel?
Well, it feels, well, what you said is very, very true, in the sense that there's a crossroads. You're presented with crossroads, and by choosing one, life force does not really exist. So I love calling this life sucking. It just, you start entering into a life sucking mode, which is, compensations or unhealthy relationships or choices out of fear, or which really brings you into kind of disalignment. And alignment is different for everybody. It's feeling connected and alive into this life force current. And the other one is very much unknown, like you say. It's a leap of faith. It's like, I'm being pulled there. My intuition tells me to go there. I feel like my body gets awakened when I tap into that direction. Even before going, you just feel like there's that primal breath. It starts being activated. You start being alive in a very different way than when you go and take coffee, for example, right? And by all means, this is without judgment that I'm saying all of this, because compensations are there for a reason. They are God created. They're all part of our 3D reality. So it's not about being perfect. Like, I mean, not at all. It's about being conscious. It's about making conscious choices. If we choose to go towards the known path, then it's a conscious choice. Sometimes we need breaks, and we're like, okay, let me be on this plateau for a certain time. Like, I just need to be in my illusion for a certain time. And again, it's without judgment. There's a lot of, there's fun going on there also. There's pain, there's pleasure, there's tons of stuff. But when it gets too painful, and this is usually my sign, and now I don't need to go into as much pain as what I used to before. But when it becomes painful, when I see that my attention is not centered, when I see that I'm just all over the place, or I'm not feeling alive, like I'm not feeling connected, which is my main, I just love it. It's my love, like it's my beloved, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't like to be far from what I love.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's a radar that I've gone too far, maybe on the known path. Let's put it like this. If this happens to me, then now. Before, my symptoms were more into pain. Like I was just hitting walls after walls, and I was like, what is happening? Like, why am I losing so much energy? Why do I feel like why do I feel like I'm losing my sense of connection? Why do I mean,
being always hungry also.
yeah.
Like, hungry for more. That's a sign.
Yeah, and it's a feeling hungry in a different way, because there's kind of being hungry on that path too of, but it's more drinking from the fountain of life. That's how I love putting it. It's not hungry like a craving, like a drug, for example. It's not, it's more like feeling this fulfillment from inside. And there it's always like feeling the fulfillment from outside, kind of going out to, okay, I need to fill myself up, because when I am with myself, something feels so painful, or it feels there's unease, right?
Yeah.
That I need to fill myself up. Here it's like more presence. It's more like, okay, there's discomfort, but let me address it. Let me be with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Let me hold my own space. Let me unfold, and know that behind this pain, behind this dis-ease, behind this discomfort, there is tremendous, tremendous energy. There is a bank of energy, of currency, holding to be unleashed. And that is a part of us in that 3D. It's a part of our design that is just knocking at the door and is like, listen to me. We are here to co-create all together, not separated. We are here to co-create all together, inside, all together, outside. And this is kind of the ideal of, the oneness, which exists. Oneness exists, but to bring this in our 3D, I mean, that's, who knows?
Individual interactions and awakenings and realizations.
Yeah.
But when I hear you speak, I also hear all the power of the non-judgment approach, in the sense that, all those things have messages for us. Ultimately, whatever we decide, making a choice is the first step, and then it's listening to what's inside. When you make that choice.
Yeah, it's really, it's choice and without judgment. So sometimes the path, or what wants to be revealed or unleashed, is not necessarily beautiful.
Yeah.
And that, I think it's important that I say this, because we have different types of sides. And it happened in my life that sometimes I was just repressing sides that I was like, no, I cannot let this part out, because what's going to happen, and I'm going to be banned from tribes, I'm going to be banned from family, like I cannot be seen in this, or I cannot even see myself. I could hear those voices, but I was like, what's going to happen if I tap into that? But at one point, what you resist persists, right? So you surrender. You're like, okay, let me just welcome it, and then it will have a manifestation in the 3D. You will enter a certain phase of life that goes into whatever it wants, and at first it's inflamed, but then at the root of it there's essence. At the root of it there is design. There's an intrinsic function of why this needs to happen on your path. And the more we practice, the more we are in this embodiment practice, or the meditation, or we're bathing into presence, the less we have to act on this 3D and like be inflamed in that persona. So it, instead of doing this of action, then it can be this, just to activate it. And then you get closer and closer to the design. But before, I didn't know this. When I was, I don't know, in my 20s, I had to go through different life types, right? And personalities, and get to the answers like this too. It was more a path of desire, like more like, I'm hungry, but I know I'm seeking for an answer. And at one point I was getting the answers. I was always getting the answers, but there's kind of a, you know, I don't want to proclaim, but I find there's kind of a shortcut. You know, you don't need to go and act in an inflamed way. That's from my perspective and from what I'm sharing right now. Yes.
And it relates also to how you were speaking about pain, how it needs to be less and less painful in order for you to realize or maybe have awareness of what is happening or what wants to manifest in the 3D world, whether it's, you know, pain or a project or a decision or whatever, you know, just to make a small choice and observe. And I guess, does it have to do with presence again? Like how the more present you are, the less it's needed to, you know, go out of alignment.
Totally. Yeah, it's the more present because you become, I mean, we are all very sensitive. I mean, if you're watching this series, I'm pretty sure that you're very sensitive. So we feel it when we become disaligned. At one point we're like, it's painful. You get into your meditation at night and you're like, okay, yeah, I have disaligned. So presence is going to tell us. Or if we are inflamed, and it happens that something emerges and like there's like huge actions, and you integrate, you let the nervous system integrate the new information and you ground, and then it just becomes that process of, yeah, it's we don't need to go and hurt ourselves because the body's gonna, we're gonna listen to we're gonna hear the messages of the body a lot sooner than, for example, it could have taken 5 or 10 years when I was younger. I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
I mean, now it can take whatever, an evening or
and I feel it ties into the type of spaces that you also hold, or, you know, teachers on your path can hold for you, because when you're alone, sometimes it's hard to see where you're at or where you're stuck or where you're looping in a way.
Yeah, it definitely helps to be, with a tribe and to be surrounded by like-minded people, or people who are choosing the same path, because it's just very powerful. And like I said, I had my teachers, I still have mentors, and I'm holding my own sacred spaces for women, and you are part of them too, right? So it's like, I mean, the foundations of those containers is to really create, to the best of our capacity, something that is safe for the women. And like I like saying also, safety is very personal. We cannot claim that we know what feels safe for somebody, but to put, you know, to have inputs of safety like presence and grounding and really listening and giving space. Those are all ingredients that help the nervous system to not feel threatened. But sometimes people can feel threatened by too much space. So it's a dance of really paying attention to what's happening in a group. And there's beautiful unfolding. I mean, you can share a bit if you want about what it does to you to be in containers like this.
Yeah, well, you know, I've known you through individual presence and also through the spaces you hold, because like the first contact with you was through, you know, private coaching, and at that time I really needed to feel, you know, the close presence of someone who deeply understood what I was going through in my body and my sensations, the type of overwhelm that I was experiencing from all the external stimulation, basically. Like I was sort of plugged into many channels, and I had to just like unplug it all, go inside, and I needed guidance for that. I was nervous to go inside of a group setting because I felt like I wouldn't be understood, or that I couldn't show my truth, or that there wasn't enough space for me to fully appear. And I think that the most beautiful lesson that I heard, that I learned in a group setting with, you know, sisters, is that I can slowly allow myself to appear more and more and more, and knowing deep down that it's safe. And that has allowed me to do the same in the world. And so it's sort of like, you know, step by step, listening to what I need, sincerely. So yeah, for me, that's the type of space that you hold and that you create, and it's beautiful. It's transformative. Yeah, you had, I think you had a small gift to offer to the audience.
Well, in fact, it's the gift is actually if you feel the call, you know, if everything that we shared through the series, through this conversation, resonates inside of you, if you're ready to really tap into this intrinsic energy that you have inside, to the truth you've always felt inside, to the messages, the voice that you have inside, I'm offering a half an hour free discovery call with me, where we're really going to tap into what you want to be creating in your life. Also, what's stopping you from creating what you feel called by in your life. And I'll also share about this container, if we feel that resonance, the container that Raphaëlle just exposed about. And we'll just have a sincere, authentic conversation together. So I'll be putting the link underneath the video, and feel free to book a call, and we'll chat. Just have a sincere conversation, like I said.
Yes, and another gift is also the summit.
Yes.
Speakers that we're gonna have with us. So that's cool.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer, for opening up and sharing your truth.
Thank you so much for showing up today and having this conversation with me. And thank you, everybody who have journeyed with us on the series. Hope you enjoyed the series. Don't hesitate if you have questions about the interviews to the experts. You can join us on the Facebook group. You have all the details in the emails you have received. So join us there, ask your questions, connect with us. There's a community surrounding this authentic woman you are theme. So many, many blessings, and we'll see you on the journey. All right. Bye.